Welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Ben Jacobs. Thank you for joining us. Education is one of the top issues we cover here at Cronkite News. Tonight, we are bringing you a series of reports on the state of our schools and the future for our Arizona students.
High school is a crucial time in a young person's life. It is a time to make memories and build relationships, but above all, gain a solid foundation for one's education. One high school program offered across Arizona is leading more students to graduation. Megan Meyer reports.
At first, I didn't think I could do it. I really didn't have enough credits to go to the school I wanted to go to, so my mom put me in this school.
Just 1 year ago, Kyla Taylor, a high school senior, moved to Arizona with her family. Shortly after, she found herself behind on credits and knew earning her high school degree was going to be a challenge. But then she found Ombudsman, a program that offers specialized learning for students at risk of lagging behind and in some cases, dropping out.
Some of our students come to us because they have, they might be lacking credits, therefore they're not able to graduate with their class. So they're looking for a way to catch up on their credits and be able to graduate with their cohorts.
According to the latest study done by the National Center for Education Statistics, only 83% of U.S. students graduate high school. In Arizona, only 77%. Ombudsman Charter School says they are helping more Arizona students get their diplomas.
The road to achieving a high school degree can pose a variety of challenges. That's why schools across the state and across the U.S. are focusing on students' individual needs in order to get them to graduation day.
Dropout issue is a significant issue for our nation, and we want to be a part of helping solve and being part of the solution.
For some students, the solution begins with entering a learning environment such as this one.
I started getting the memo of it, okay, I can still get my high school diploma. And after a while I started thinking about life. I'm like, okay, I think this is gonna help. So I actually like it, and it has helped me because I have come a long way.
In the future, Kyla hopes to attend college and one day become a nurse. She says she's confident that Ombudsman will give her the tools she needs to reach her goals. In Phoenix, Megan Meyer, Cronkite News.
Young drivers experience many distractions while sitting behind the wheel, but what happens when their eyes leave the road for too long? Reporter Megan Meyer shows us the presentation at Desert Ridge High School that opened the students' eyes to that danger.
Nearly 2,800 students gathered on Desert Ridge High School's football field this morning. As the scene was unveiled, the crowd saw a lifeless body lay on top of a vehicle.
It's just sticking. We got help on the way, okay?
5 teens inside the car began to cry out. For Desert Ridge senior Amber Burton, who participated in the mock crash, the message hit home.
I don't want to lose anybody. You don't realize how much can go wrong so quickly.
That's the scenario in this mock crash. In a matter of seconds, a distracted driver collided with a pedestrian, killing her. Although the drama was played out by student actors, Mesa Fire and Police wanted to show teens how a situation like this could very easily become a reality.
It really got their attention, and as scary and as sad is for them, we would hope that just a scenario like this would embed into their brains and embed into their consciousness.
According to Mesa Fire and Medical, sending or receiving a text takes the driver's eyes off the road for 4.6 seconds. That's equivalent to driving an entire length of a football field, blind.
One of my values of driving is to keep off your phone, because I've seen people drive with it, and I've been passengers with people driving in it, and they've almost swerved off a few times, and yeah, I wouldn't want to be the cause of that.
Moving forward, Mesa Fire and Police hope these students will view today as a wake-up call and will be more aware of the decisions they are making when on the road. In Mesa, Megan Meyer, Cronkite News.
High school students who have an interest in healthcare had a chance to experience what their future careers could look like. Reporter Gabriela Bacara has the story.
Learning to drill a tooth, using occupational therapy exercises, and physical therapy exercises were just some of the different workshops high school students experienced at the Health Science Career Day at Midwestern University in Glendale. Special Events Manager Janet Ryman says the university offered about 30 different interactive workshops with tools used to train their students.
High school students get to see some of the stuff that even our first and second year students don't ever get to see.
Assistant Assistant Program Director of the Occupational Therapy Program, Catherine Schofield, says there are many misconceptions about healthcare careers.
Many healthcare careers are unknown by high school students, especially occupational therapy. So this is a really good opportunity for students at this kind of stage in their life to learn more about what's out there.
According to a Vitalist Health Foundation report, about 80% of Arizona hospitals reported a demand for healthcare professionals in 2016. This program gave the next generation of students a look at a possible career. Morgan Hudson, an occupational therapy student at Midwestern University, says developing an interest at an early stage can be beneficial.
As high school students, it's really important to educate yourself with what it takes, and if this is an area of interest for you, that you have to take the steps through your education to get here.
And the hands-on event helps students get on the right path. In Glendale, Gabriella Becerra, Cronkite News.
Midwestern University is now accepting applications for their Summer Career Institute. 48 high school students will be chosen for the hands-on program.
Forget the books. You can use a 3D printer, create shapes out of styrofoam, and make your own movie at the Mesa Library's new Think Spot. Reporter Emily Richardson was at the opening to show us the possibilities.
The role of a library in the 21st century America. Is it a 20th century model that is obsolete or needs to be rethought? And the answer is yes.
And this morning, the Maine Mesa Public Library pushed themselves into the future by opening a second Think Spot that gives the public access to 21st century technology.
We're into the future, and as things change and time goes forward, we need to upgrade or update the type of technology that we're using.
Chauncey Bradford says he already comes to the library at least every other week, but now he thinks he will be coming twice a week because of the possibilities the Think Spot will bring to his community.
We're going to open up a door and a gateway of technology that a lot of people are going to be able to access and use it to, uplift the people around them.
The Think Spot will give the public access to new technology such as 3D printers, where they will be able to make things such as bracelets, vases, or even a dinosaur skull.
Alongside the 3D printer, people can use a silhouette cameo to cut out designs onto thin pieces of vinyl, an X-carve machine to cut designs into wood or styrofoam, and a sewing machine that can embroider fabric. The Think Spot coordinator, Marin Hunt, is excited to see how this impacts the city of Mesa.
I'm really most excited to see what people come in and dream up and do.
The Think Spot is open to anyone with a Mesa Public Library card. In Mesa, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
Right now, the public can just tour the Think Spot at the main branch, but starting March 12th, citizens can take training and start using the technology.
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey says his push for new school safety legislation will include a focus on gun sale background checks, but he appeared opposed to closing a loophole that allows unchecked private sales. Ducey's comments come after a call to action today at the state capitol. Lawmakers, activists, and students demanding that gun reform laws get a hearing. Reporter Gabriella Becerra was at the news conference on gun violence and school shootings.
There's frustration after several bills that could have closed loopholes on gun laws failed to even make it out of committee.
Enough is enough. We deserve better. Our kids deserve better.
Representative Daniel Hernandez was among the legislators and activists who demanded that changes in Arizona gun law take place.
We need our elected officials, like the 90 people in this building and the governor, to do something.
There were several bills on gun reform proposed in the legislature this session, including ensuring background checks, keeping firearms from domestic violence offenders, and banning bump stocks. Deputy County Attorney from Pima County, Kathleen Mayer, addressed House Bill 2140, which would keep firearms from the mentally ill.
If we care about mental health, we need to enable ourselves and our family members to help those who may have access to firearms.
She said the bill has yet to have a hearing.
We have to flood the phone lines, the emails of our legislators to actually stand up and do something.
House Assistant Minority Leader Dr. Randy Fries says that background checks are only required from a federally licensed firearm dealer, but not for personal sales, including gun shows.
We need a system of comprehensive background checks
that protects our public and makes it incrementally more difficult for someone who should not have access.
President-elect of Arizona School Boards Association, Lawrence Robinson, says there are simple solutions that can be made to change the gun violence taking place.
Do what's right and have a balanced approach to ending gun violence so that your kid isn't the victim. And let's finally move past this issue.
Junior at Mountain View High School, Jordan Harb, says he speaks on behalf of the 1 million students enrolled in Arizona schools.
We'll march because there are 2,200 shootings in Arizona every single year, yet we lack basic universal background checks or concealed carry permits.
March 14th has been declared National Walkout Day, and Harb says Brophy, Apollo, and Willow Canyon are just a few of the high schools that will be participating. Students on spring break will be headed to the Capitol to meet with legislators. At the Digital Desk, I'm Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
17 people died from a shooting that happened on a school campus in Florida nearly 1 month ago. Since then, social media has fueled students in the Valley to walk in solidarity to push officials for gun control reforms starting tomorrow.
Local leaders are coming together advocating for gun control.
If the governor is truly listening on this issue, he will put forth something meaningful that addresses the issues that the community is asking for.
But with them and leading the marches and rallies starting tomorrow in Arizona are students demanding a change.
I'm not even able to vote. I can't register until 2020. I'm standing here because I want my life to matter. I don't want to fear being killed in school.
Jordan Harb is 17 years old and goes to Mountain View High School. He's advocating for stronger gun reform policies because of the lack of mental care.
Mountain View is much more funded than other schools here in Arizona. And if I can't even get mental care and I go to one of the better schools, I can only imagine what it's like to go to one of the less funded schools.
Harb says the movement that may have started on social media will come alive tomorrow at the state capitol.
Come join us at the Capitol building at 11 o'clock, in which we'll be meeting with our legislators all day, whether they want to or not. We will be there and we will make sure that they speak with us.
Joining Jordan Harb is Jacob Martinez. Martinez is 16, attends Dobson High School, and is a Republican.
And I'm not saying that I'm against the Second Amendment, absolutely not. But I believe that to prevent tragedies, we need common sense gun reform.
At 14, Martinez became active in politics, and now more than ever, he says it's time to take a stand.
We need sensible gun action. That doesn't mean taking away people's guns, but it means putting forth, laws and reform to make sure that we prevent another tragedy like this from happening.
Although social media has gained momentum for upcoming events, there's also been backlash.
To see the backlash and the hit back from Republicans has just been absolutely ridiculous. I've had people cussing me out because of it. Someone compared me to Nicholas Cruz because of my stance.
Despite backlash or lack of support, both teenagers state they're hopeful for a positive outcome from the student-built movement.
Harb says he hopes this movement can be a beacon of hope for those who are suffering from depression or are scared to be in schools.
It isn't easy to raise $500,000 for charity, and it isn't easy to raise that money annually, but a few nonprofit groups do just that to help Valley students get the best education possible. Kate Gardner talked with people, making it all happen.
Dinner is over at the Boys Hope, Girls Hope house, and now it's time to talk money.
And a lot of great momentum.
Many of these scholars have been living away from their parents since they were 14, part of the program to support their housing, transportation, and tuition at college prep schools.
Being able to be mentored and guided through it, that's what helps us get to college.
Each scholar, like Roberto Huerta, needs upwards of $16,000 a year to pay for school. That's where the Boys Hope, Girls Hope home steps in to help.
It doesn't just stop there. Once scholars are in college, then it goes on to helping you through college, and the process goes on.
That's why leaders from groups like Brokers for Kids and Scottsdale Active 2030 are fundraising nonstop. Last year, collecting $500,000.
You can only send so many kids based on the money you have, and again, these are exceptional minds.
In Arizona, more than 60,000 children attend private schools. Here, 90 scholars who would only have access to low-rated public schools are given a chance to attend highly rated private schools. Scholars from Boys Hope, Girls Hope believe those who are helping them get into college will be there to help them long after they graduate high school.
I think that it's what you make of it. I think it's definitely become a family to me.
Students, mentors, and organization leaders make sacrifices for one reason.
I saw this as somewhere I needed to be in order to be successful, so it wasn't too hard.
In Phoenix, Cade Garner, Cronkite News.
Boys Hope, Girls Hope Arizona currently has 90 scholars. Of the 90, 32 are now attending college. The program has the goal of adding 6 new spots for scholars every year.
We're talking policy after Parkland. For the city of Flagstaff, the issue of gun control hits home. In 2015, Northern Arizona University had a deadly shooting on campus.
Nicole Gutierrez reports a meeting last night at NAU gave community members a chance to voice their opinions on gun control to city officials.
Flagstaff community members attended a room that was on a school campus that has gone through a school shooting. In this room, they voiced their concerns to Flagstaff officials, where they hope to continue the gun control movement.
A lot of these shootings are at schools, at colleges, and so I think it's important that the people who are being affected are the ones addressing it.
The Northern Arizona University Young Democrats hosted a public meeting at NAU in efforts to keep the discussion going on gun control.
We grew up their whole lives with seeing this pandemic, an epidemic of gun violence.
The mayor of Flagstaff stressed the importance on demanding responsible gun ownership and requesting universal background checks.
I think this is something that weighs on everybody's mind, at least it should be, and then we need to do something. Because how sad is it that you have students who are afraid to go to school?
It's a hard pill to swallow. It's so difficult to know that could have been us.
Some students who attended the meeting stated they wanted to hear if their local officials will fuel the movement as well.
We've had enough of school shootings and gun violence, and something has to be done, and that could be gun control, mental health care, whatever. Something needs to happen in our country.
Panelists at the meeting stated they hope the youth continues to spark change.
A lot of times we talk about generation, X, Y, and Z, and that they're not engaged. Well, now we see that those generations can be engaged.
Mayor Evans hopes the movement goes beyond words and even encourages the youth in the movement to run for office. In the media center, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
Around 300 teachers called in sick and marched at the Capitol today. As Gabriela Bacara reports, they were joined by other Red for Ed supporters and sat in on the Senate Finance Committee hearing.
The teachers started their protest at the Capitol and then headed inside for the hearing on House Bill 2528, which would increase the amount of capital gains that could be claimed on state income tax. Opponents are calling it tax cuts for millionaires. Red for Ed supporters looked disappointed after it passed with a 4-3 vote.
Let's all work together on that and make sure that money gets to the classroom, and with that I vote aye.
Senator David Farnsworth voted yes to pass HB 2528 with a room full of Red for Ed supporters. He explained his vote, calling for school districts to do a better job spending the money they're given. Arizona Education Association President Joe Thomas says the funding problem is coming from bills like HB 2528.
They keep passing tax cuts to where there's less money next year.
He says Arizona is spending $1 billion less on education than they did 10 years ago.
To throw up their hands and say, oh my gosh, we just don't have any money, it's because they're robbing schools every year with tax cuts.
Teachers, a part of the Sick Out, marched in a circle around the front of the Capitol before and after the Senate committee hearing. Teachers from the Pendergast Elementary School District say they want to feel appreciated.
We don't feel valued.
Teacher at Amberlea Elementary School, James Hartman, says their salaries can't keep up with the cost of living and inflation.
They're not rewarding teachers for their longevity anymore. That salary scale has stopped.
Teachers also say they are being overworked.
We're serious about our jobs, and we wish that we were taken seriously too.
First grade teacher at Sonoran Sky Elementary School, Casey Goulette, says she worked a second job during winter break and plans on finding another one for summer break.
Our hearts are in it for our kids, and it is a struggle every day without having the support of supplies and teachers having to work 2 jobs and not having proper time to plan and be prepared for their lessons. Most of the teachers at the Capitol today will be returning next Wednesday for what is being called a teach-in, organized by Save Our Schools Arizona, Arizona Educators United, and Arizona PTA. And I'm Gabriella Becerra, Cronkite News.
High school students in the Valley may no longer have to take standardized testing, but instead make the SAT or ACT mandatory. Reporter Michaela Moorhead shares how this bill could change students' futures.
These are the steps to prepare for college.
It's that time of year again when students start studying for the ACT or SAT at places like Sylvan Learning Center. But this may become even more important if HB 2037 is passed. Arizona high school juniors may have the opportunity to take the SAT or ACT in place of AZ merit testing. All public high school students across the valley take the AZ merit testing, but not all pay to take the SAT or ACT. Kristen Roberts, high school teacher, says many opportunities could open for students if this bill is passed.
I don't always know how important the ACT is and how colleges look at that, so giving them the opportunity to take that is just part of what we do at school. I think we'll give more students access to scholarships and give more students that future vision, think of themselves as a college student.
Although mandatory, students may still have to pay out of their own pocket to take the ACT or SAT. Lee Jensen, Governmental Relations Associate, says Arizona School Board Association is against this.
It's not fair to ask students to pay that for themselves and make them pay for that. So that's definitely a big part of the equation that's not addressed in the bill.
Robert's main concern is high schools receiving lower letter grades if the bill is passed.
Might make the schools look like we're lower performing simply because in most schools right now, the students who take the ACT are the students who desire to. If you make that mandatory for all students, you're not going to only be reaching those high achievers.
In Phoenix, Michaela Moorhead, Cronkite News.
The Hamilton Education Initiative brings low-income students across the country into the room where it happens.
It ties in-class history lessons with the opportunity to see the popular musical, which just finished a run at Gammage Auditorium. On Friday, more than 2,500 students from Title I schools across Arizona got a chance to rise up and take their shots thanks to the program.
This experience means so much to me. I've been obsessed with Hamilton for such a long time now, and just to be able to see it, even though, my family doesn't make much money and tickets are so much, now that I'm able to see it, it's just amazing.
The students also completed a unique hands-on online curriculum.
As Olivia Richard reports, it was created by Hamilton producers, encouraging students to find inspiration in people and events that played a role in the founding of the United States.
They say you can't go forward without knowing where you've been, which is why some Arizona history teachers have found a way to get students to talk less and listen more.
Well, this project has helped kids to see that analyzing primary sources is what led Lin-Manuel Miranda to this masterpiece.
The Hamilton-inspired curriculum allows young, scrappy, and hungry youth to look back at history and retell it in a modern way.
I define boundaries that were set for me, and was the first female slave poet in history.
And rapped about current and historical political topics.
Many people acknowledge Baron von Steuben for his great success. But what many people failed to talk about was that Baron von Steuben was also gay.
Impressing the actress who plays Eliza Schuyler on the Gammage stage.
The kind of art I made when I was your age was nowhere even close. So I can't even imagine what the generation below them is going to make, and that's really powerful.
Sharing and creating legacies that will last long past the curtain call.
Doing this was honestly a privilege for us because we're able to express that and show this is what is happening to us.
Teaching us that whether you're in the room where it happens or sitting at a high school desk, you should never throw away your shot. In Tempe, Olivia Richard, Cronkite News.
Have you ever wanted to pet an African porcupine or cuddle with some brush-tailed beddings? Reporter Olivia Richard visited one Tucson petting zoo where children and families are getting up close and personal with some endangered species.
My parents run the place. We have so many animals. We actually have more than 150. We counted them once.
At first glance, Funnyfoot Farm might seem like just another petting zoo. But there's a lot more hay to this farm than meets the eye.
So we're striving here to be a little different and be more of an educational place for kids of all ages.
The tiny farm is fighting to keep some rare and endangered animals off the extinction list.
We have a brush-tailed batong. Our batong is a critically endangered marsupial from Australia.
The farm has partnered with a zoo breeding program that works to breed endangered species together with the goal of one day reintroducing them to the wild. Their mission to teach the community about the importance of animal conservation while allowing people to get up close and personal with exotic critters.
Being able to teach these kids about animals that they might not get a chance to see in the wild, to help inspire the conservationists in them, is really vital and important. Without that, we're going to lose more species in the future.
Whether you come for the goats or the capybaras, the farm's goal is to inspire the conservationists within each visitor.
We'd really like the kids to learn about animals and be our next generation of zookeepers and conservationists.
In Flowing Wells, Olivia Richard, Cronkite News.
In addition to working with endangered species, the farm is also home to the largest population of touchable capybaras in captivity. The zoo is also expecting to welcome a baby kangaroo this summer.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.